All right, cool. So, No CMO Podcast, Chris here filling in for Ryan. Obviously, we just came back after a pretty long hiatus. We've been kind of dealing with some business issues around the whole COVID situation. I've got Josh Garellek here, if I'm getting that right.
That works. That's fine.
Um, yeah, so Josh is the founder of Partner Portal. It's a SaaS company that deals with companies managing their partner programs. We kind of came across them looking for a solution for ourselves. Always think it's a great idea to bring on people who have a solution that we're interested in and can talk about. Josh, our audience is primarily marketers. I would say it's a pretty even split of people who are higher ups in different types of Series A, Series B type organizations, as well as some kind of like growth hacky, entrepreneurial type people in the community. So I think we have a lot of value probably to offer them. The way I kind of like to do this is start off by kind of introing yourself and talking about really how you got into, founding your own company, starting a SaaS company. You have a pretty interesting pivot in terms of from a service company to actually building a product. So I'm curious to hear about that. But in any case, I'll let you kind of take it away and, kind of just tell us how you got into Partner Portal.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me, and definitely it's been awesome. Super jealous that you had a nice Italian dinner last week after we met. But yeah, it's definitely been an interesting time over the last few months for everyone. And just kind of my story. I got into entrepreneurship a little over 10 years ago. And PartnerPortal.io is a spin out or a byproduct from a UX design and agency that I still own and operate with my business partner, Jonathan Coy. And that company's name is Arctic Leaf. And what we found, so that's funny story is that's actually a byproduct from two agencies merging, Arctic Empire and then New Leaf Interactive. And then we came together back in 2017 to create what we call a tech powerhouse and UX design and implementation agency. And so through building Arctic Leaf, we do a lot of work in partnerships. And a good chunk of our revenue was coming from partnerships. The problem was it was a real pain. Can I curse, by the way? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Okay.
So it was a real fucking pain in the ass to track really anything in the partner ecosystem. So where leads were coming from, are they supposed to get paid on? How much was supposed to get paid on? Did they win? Did they lose? What's the status? And leads would come from Slack, LinkedIn, text messaging, email, Skype if you still use it, but just virtually everywhere. And it was just impossible for us to start tracking where these deals were coming from.
Yeah.
And so my business partner had this really great idea of, why don't we build a simple lead gen form for a partner to fill out through our agency dashboard. And so we quickly threw something together, built it out, and then it was actually at a big commerce event. John was showing it to one of our premier partners in the media buying space.
Interesting.
And he's like, "Holy shit! How do I get access to this? How can I buy it, right?" And so we sat down and we just thought to ourselves, well, we build SaaS products for other companies. We've had a couple of successful clients. A couple of clients have successful exits on their SaaS companies. So why not do this ourselves, right? And spin this potentially out into its own SaaS product. So we built a very quick MVP and then decided last minute we're going to do a super, super soft launch at a local company up in Ottawa, a local conference up in Ottawa called SaaS North. Put together very simple, one of those super skinny booths, just the name.
Nice.
And it's a really funny story how PartnerPortal.io's name came in, and I'll switch gears for a second, but it was actually, we acquired that domain name when John was on a flight at 35,000 feet in the air. So we were trying to figure out, what do we call this thing? And then John's just Googling, and he found PartnerPortal.io, and he's slacking me. He's like, "Should I buy it?" I'm like, "Yes!" So really cool, fun story, just how we got it. And that name, PartnerPortal.io, has given us such attribution in
I bet.
That we're actually ranking on page 1 in the US for Partner Portal. It's under one word, but pretty cool from an SEO standpoint.
Yeah, for real.
So we launched this super half-baked platform at SaaS North up in Ottawa, Canada. And for me, that was a validation, right? It was like, does this check a box? Is this something that people want? And we had every company from like RBC Ventures to new startups, larger companies, just coming over and just saying, what is a partner relationship management software? The whole concept of the word PRM or the acronym PRM was so foreign to them, but it was so intriguing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many companies that build a channel through partnerships, right? So whether you're real estate, recruiting, accounting, right, legal, SaaS-based companies, manufacturers, like everyone works in partnerships. And Microsoft built a multi-billion-dollar company on value-added resellers or partnership channels. Shopify built a billion-dollar-plus year company through partnerships. If you go to Shopify Unite, they got up there a couple of years ago and said, thank you, everyone. You've all driven over $800 million in partner revenue to our platform. Like, that's massive, right? So everyone's coming over at this conference saying, what is partnerpool.io? What do you guys do? And it was actually a bit of education in explaining to them what is a partner program, first of all, because not everyone fully understands what partner programs are, what's a partner ecosystem, what's a channel. And then what the fuck PRM stands for. So
definitely not PRM. Yeah.
So we started saying, well, it's a partner relationship management system. So think of CRM, but now this is a platform or a SaaS product that is designed for partner managers to manage their partner ecosystem. So that is everything from new partner registrations, lead tracking, commission payouts, marketing collateral, data analytics, and more. And then obviously, building in integrations with, very, very large successful CRMs like Salesforce and HubSpot, and Pipedrive, and a few others. And then, building in integrations with payment providers like PayPal, etc. And so all of a sudden, this little baby idea started to get that first validation piece, like that first checkbox. So then all of a sudden, we're like, okay, we win a couple of customers. We're like, okay, what are we doing here? And then I said, well, why not, let's go to Collision Conference in Toronto. And so we applied for the Alpha Track at Collision. We got accepted. Through that time, we won a Bootstrap 2019 Bootstrap Award for Ottawa because our software, partnerportal.io, is fully bootstrapped through the agency. So we haven't taken on any outside financing. So this is like truly a spin out of solving a problem that we had internally at our own agency by building a piece of software and then bringing it to market. So really cool little story. And so we went to Collision Conference, also had this like Alpha Track, little booth, and we came out of there with hundreds of leads, right? We still weren't even ready yet because we didn't have Salesforce, we didn't have
classic
integrations. And so, but we got a ton of interest. So that was validation number 2. And then over the next period of time, we started to just build out other features, right? So Salesforce was a huge one for us, that integration, because that was what our customer base was asking. It's like, well, I love the software, the UX is amazing, the product looks great, pricing is in line, makes sense. I have to be able to integrate with Salesforce. So we worked really, really hard to get Salesforce done, all while we're heading over to Portugal for Web Summit. Also part of the Alpha Track. So 3 of the co-founders flew out to Portugal. Of course, my business partner and I went to Ibiza beforehand for some workation, and did a lot of strategy and communication and chatting, and then went over to Portugal and did 5 days of Web Summit. Thank God I got to do that before COVID came into
for real.
But so again, also coming out of there, just very large number of leads, and some really, really big customers, and all different types of use cases that we never thought about, that we never even fathomed that our platform would really potentially address or fix. And so since Web Summit, we launched Salesforce Beta. We had a whole bunch of new customers on board. MRR is increasing. We initially started a seed round right before COVID kind of came into be. So we got a really strong valuation for that matter, and we got some support and backing from the Canadian government as well. And then so right now we're actually about a week or two away from a really big update to the platform, just from stronger security, better platform, a little more elasticity, and then a new pricing model, new features, an entirely new robust resource center with tons of permissions and capabilities. And so now we've really taken this really baby concept that John created of hey,
Sure.
there's going to be a better way of tracking partnerships. And there are some other products in the market, but they're highly specialized or much more targeted to enterprise.
Yeah.
There was this gap in the space.
Yeah.
Where can Partner Portal fit? And we fit really well into that mid-market range.
Yeah, there's not really like a mass market solution. Like if you think about, like project management software, for example, right? Like you have Trello, something that's accessible to everyone, everybody wants to use it, and then you have like, Rike, or you have like big, type companies that are working, that are dealing with lots of variables and all of that. There's really for PRM, there's really no well-known, no one's been able to brand it or execute it in that way.
Yeah, exactly. So we thought, and what's really also very unique and different from Partner Portal.io and any competitor out there is that we are truly the only multi-tenant SaaS product on the market. If you go to anyone else, you have to contact an account manager.
Right.
Go through a setup.
You can't get in. Yeah.
Whereas we've designed our product and platform to be up and running in under
right away.
30 minutes. 30 minutes, you're up and running.
Yeah. Going back to, I guess, a little more personal question. So this is we've tried to launch multiple SaaS products around, the marketing agency stuff we've done. Have lost a bit of money on that, but, besides the point, was that a gradual decision in terms of you shifting your efforts, the two of you, into Partner Portal, or was that something that, was it kind of an instantaneous thing, or gradually did you start devoting more?
It's definitely been gradual, and still is gradual, because we're still operating the agency while still doing a couple of days a week on Partner Portal.
Sure.
So that definitely has it's definitely hindered the growth of Partner Portal, but at the same time, we've also been able to control our cap table and been able to control. Not taking on incorrect financing to escalate the platform. So we've been able to manage the development and the speed of the development of the platform through the agency. So that's really been helpful to us longer term. And I think initially out of the gate, it's maybe a little bit of a hindrance from a speed to market, but long term, I think that we're in market, we have revenue, we have a product. So when we do go out and raise financing, that's really going to help us much more long term.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, what's your game plan in general? Let's say Partner Portal blows up.
So yeah, there is a transition plan.
So
doing a couple of days a week full time now. I think ultimately the goal on the agency is we've built a really strong leadership team that can manage that, and then as more and more time goes on, we'll gradually be moving more into the Partner Portal side of the business.
Does the team bleed into PP? Like, does the team cross over? Like, are you treating Partner Portal kind of as a client?
Yes.
You are? Okay. So it's kind of segmented in that way where you can manage it.
John, myself, Eddie, and Steve, we're the quote unquote client, although Steve does do some of the development.
Sure.
Right? But no, the product is treated as a client to the agency, so it follows all of our same standards.
Real smart move.
Everything's tracked inside of Teamwork and our project management software. We have boards, we have sprints, we have time tracking. We don't change anything, so it's all run the same way.
Right. So you've kind of built the process for your clients, and now you're able to utilize it to launch your own, kind of side business. We
spent better part of 18 months redefining the process. He's done a phenomenal job on that. I know where my strengths are, and I know where his are. And from an operational standpoint, he's created this really great process that has allowed us to, doesn't matter if it's an e-com site, a SaaS product, a mobile app, it all goes through the same process. So we make sure we get the same outcome at the end every single time.
Interesting. Now, they're jumping around a little bit, kind of going back in time there, but the merger, how did that come about? And, how are you, I'm assuming you were the sole founder, owner of.
No, I was not the sole founder of Arctic.
Before. Okay.
So we did have a shareholder pool, friends and family, prior. And then so John and I started working together, collaborating back in 2015.
Nice.
It's when Arctic Empire, the company I started in game development. So we did iOS game, casino gaming products, Facebook, all that stuff.
Interesting.
Realized pretty quickly that gaming is not the easiest vertical to be in. You're either making a boatload of money or you're not making anything. There's very small window in the middle. You look at like where the top revenue is going on the App Store for gaming, it's usually like there's a top 10 list and then everybody else is at the bottom. Yeah. So it's like 99% of the revenue is going to these top 10 people, and then the 1% is being spread out amongst all of these other developers. So, and then over that course of time, you're just getting asked like, hey, can you build me a mobile app, right? Because we were doing experience and we had started building iOS applications, native, both, cross-platform. We tried Marmalade and Cocoa Studio X and Corona and Trillium and Unity. And so we just had a lot of experience in mobile. Yeah. And then in 2015, we were building this very large crowdfunding affiliate platform. And John was brought in from the merchant or the vendor to do the front end where we focused on the back end. And so we went out to Bend, Oregon. We all got together. We hung out. We discussed the project, and then just John and I hit it off. And we said, you know what? Let's focus on some other initiatives. Fast forward to June, July of 2017. He said he wants to come up to Ottawa. Let's talk. We kind of loosely floated the idea of a merger, and so he's like, yeah, let's come up to Ottawa and let's sit down and build out a structure. So we came to Ottawa. We actually did like a whole company whitewater rafting trip. It was really cool. And then we put everything down on paper. And then, a number of months later, we did a name change. That was a whole other thing. Went through about 1,000 different names. And then we
got there. Yeah.
And then we just came, let's just take the first word Arctic and then Leaf and put it together. So that's it. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a pretty cool process to, go through. So, we've been working together for 5 years. We've tried some other spin outs and things like that, like I think everyone else has. Sure. This one was something that really just stuck with us because it was so ingrained with the company, right? If everything we do with Shopify or BigCommerce or Miva or Klaviyo or any of it's all built around partnerships. And so it just made complete sense for us. And then we just saw this gap in the market of, well, why is no one doing this? Yeah, and exactly how you said it. No one's branded themselves as the PRM. No, where's the HubSpot of PRM? Right? Do you think? Do you have a reason for why that is? Is it potentially just because it's a challenge to create awareness for a term that no one knows about? Like, is that why no one's done it? Like, what do you think is the reason? So it's a much smaller market. Currently the PRM space today is about $800 to about $1 billion. Okay. We're expecting it to grow to about 1.6, 1.8 billion by 2023. Sure. Now, those numbers probably are different due to COVID, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But partnerships in general, they are a lot of work, right? And CEOs and CROs will look at partnerships as a way to make money or a revenue track, but it actually takes a lot of work to get there. Right, it's communication, it's marketing collateral, it's analytics, it's lead gen. It's not something that is just standard. So a lot of companies that half-ass a partner program generally fail at that partner program, right? And so those companies that do it well, they do it really, really well. And that's a really good point. Which is, and I think when we were talking about the product and people kind of coming on board, most companies that sign up for you guys don't have an existing partner program, correct? It's a mix.
It's a mix.
We're starting to see now in the COVID era, I'm going to call it.
Sure.
A lot of companies are. Yeah.
That's not PC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
might have to censor that.
so what's wrong with COVID era? So what we're seeing now is we're seeing a lot of companies that actually don't have a partner program that want to start one. Whereas before we were seeing a large number of companies that already have a partner program, but they don't have the tools
to develop it. Yeah, I imagine, I mean, most companies that we work with, when we start working with them probably are, maybe they have a spreadsheet, like different kinds of Stripe links or like tracking links for affiliates. Maybe they have some type of intake form for referrals, but they're certainly not managing it in a unified way. Maybe they set terms, but it's not, there's no real management system in terms of getting like returns out of it.
I mean, I met a very large processing company. I won't say the name of them.
Okay.
I met them at a conference, and I met one of their lead partner managers, and I said, how are you tracking, tracking your partnerships and your partners? And when I started talking about our PRN, he was like very intrigued. He's like, let's set up a call next week and let's take a look at it. And it was still very, very, very new. It was feature rich, but really ready. So really premature to talk to a company of this stature. But when I started talking to him, we get on a Zoom call, and I said, how are you tracking everything? And he opens up an Excel spreadsheet that has
a couple columns.
Oh my, a couple. It was, and I'm like, Daniel, how do you know what's happening in here? And he's like, I focus on these 10 partners. Everything else is just kind of, it's just there. So for him, he was extremely intrigued on our PRM. We just weren't ready with the platform of where he needed to be. But it was this was I'm talking a very, very, very
Yeah, I think one of the other reasons is, you see a lot of cases, I feel like, some of it's the management, right? But a lot of it is also educating the partners on your product. And there does have to be like a natural fit there. So, I mean, have you seen how do companies kind of assess who's going to be a good partner or not? Is it they have to be upstream, downstream, or... I mean, how have you managed? I guess a better question would be, most people understand like what your agency does, correct? Right? What would a partner look like for the agency?
So a partner, the agency is predominantly UX and design focused, right? So we're not doing PPC ads, we're not doing social marketing, we're not doing search algorithm, things like that, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you're doing an e-com site, that's all encompassing. You need a partner who's going to do PPC, you need a partner who's going to do ads, you need a partner, etc. Right? And then there are other companies, other agencies that are just implementation agencies where there are UX agencies, right? So it's always a give and take, right? So if someone actually goes to one of our media buying partners and says, I want to redo my e-com store, but then they say, well, great, we can turn on the taps, but you're just not going to convert because you don't have good UX, your site's slow, it's built on the wrong platform, and the list goes on and on. So they'll make an introduction saying, hey, Josh, meet so-and-so, they need support prior to them ever being able to do any kind of PPC ads. And it's the same idea as like, we'll get an intake or a new merchant and say, hey, you know what, like we do UX and design and implementation, like who do you guys work with for social ads? Or who does your media?
So you kind of need to know.
Yeah. So, instead of being this one-stop shop of like, we do everything, right? We're a UX design implementation agency. I'm going to bring in our primary partners that we focus on and work with that do specialize in SEO, that specialize in media buying, that specializes in X, Y, and Z, right? It's the same like a lawyer, right? A lawyer, I'm a corporate lawyer, but I don't do tax.
Right. You gotta,
So, I don't know if I answered that question correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I was getting more at, I think people can understand how it fits in, in like a process, right? But my question was more so educating how do you get the partners educated on your product so they can sell it, right? Like, do they have to be customers of yours to understand it, right? Obviously, ultimately it's going to be sales reps and that type of thing. I think a lot of it is, and this goes for some of our audience, which are agency owners, consultant type people, some of them probably freelancers. I think a lot of people struggle with, okay, you did a good job for your client, but are you making that client aware of whoever else is out there? What should they say about your product or service?
Well, I mean, so first off, on our website, we do list our partners that we do work with, right? So it's a really good way to educate a new customer or merchant or vendor.
They can say.
Yeah, and we do have, we use our partner portal, right? So our PRM software. So if you do go into our PRM software, you'll see our terms right out of the gate. How is our partner program structured? What's the commission fees? Is it perpetuity? Is it 365? Et cetera, et cetera. And then inside the PRM software, there's a directory, and there's usually brand guidelines. What are
whatever,
the agency? What's our goal, objectives, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of, it's funny. I just asked my team to build a partner page for our e-com for the agency side, because we don't have anything talking about what the program's all about.
Got it.
But if you look at someone like Klaviyo, right, who's an ESP, they have an entire page and directory fully focused to their partner program.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of the larger, like the Shopify partner program, right, is kind of like what everybody uses as an example of like a massive, I mean, those are more providers, right? So they would, I guess it's a little bit different, but.
Well, yes and no, because
they do have tech.
I can be an agency partner to Shopify, right?
Right.
But if I have an app, say, who specializes in AI search, right?
Could be on there too.
So they can be an app partner to Shopify, and we facilitate different things, right? So I bring a merchant to Shopify, I get a kickback, right?
Yeah.
But the app partner can also bring a merchant to Shopify and get or something else, right?
Yeah.
And then but it's also, it works like kind of this weird full circle, I guess you would say, because the search company is running their own partner program, and it brings people back into Shopify. And then I bring a merchant to them, right? And then I facilitate or I'm part of their partner program, right?
Right.
So everyone has their own job of educating. Just like you're educating a customer what you do, you have to educate the partner on what you do as well.
So this is I guess a stat related question. I don't know if you can share this, but what's the distribution? Do you see most most business being generated from a few partners? Is it spread out? Like in terms of the user base, do you have numbers on?
So we're seeing predominantly the type of companies that are signing up or using our platform are SaaS-based companies. So they're AI analytics. We have a bunch of agencies. Some in UX.
It fits, yeah.
Some in SEO. We have a pharmaceutical manufacturer that doesn't really care so much for the partner side, but they really care about the collateral or marketing collateral distribution. So they don't care anything about the lead gen. They love the fact that we have this ability to group a partner into a particular section that can then disperse content to them very easily, right?
That makes sense.
Right? Totally different use case, but a niche, right? And so it's predominantly, I would say 65 to 75% is SaaS-based companies that have an existing partner program or looking to start a new partner program, and then the rest is kind of just everything all of the above, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, do you see it being? I mean, this is probably like a A or B question, but do you see it being more useful to a SaaS company or software product, or like a service company like your agency, for example?
I really think it depends on your partner program. I don't think it matters if it's a SaaS company, real estate company, recruiting company, etc. As long as your partner program has a structure to it, that you're dealing with leads, dealing with a referral payout, whether it's percentage or commission based. Not every partner program runs differently, right? They have their own caveats. We've been seeing a lot of partner programs that to be part of it, you have to buy into it. And then
I see a lot of those, yeah.
And if you generate enough revenue, whatever's the overflow is you get paid out on that, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about commissions. It's not just about revenue.
Yeah, what incentive-wise, yeah.
It's not just about the incentive. It's about the relationship building.
That's what I thought, yeah.
It's so important. I mean, I think the greatest stat is I have a background in network marketing, also fun.
Sure.
But 92% of people will buy something more likely to buy something if someone told them.
100%, yeah.
So it's about education, it's about community, it's about the ecosystem, and it's about collaboration. The revenue and the commissions is nice, but ultimately, if your goal is to service your customer, you want to bring in the best partners available, and you also want to track that and be able to hold that relationship along the line, right? That's where the lead tracking and where the visual insight into what's happening with the customer that you've referred to a partner is so crucial. And that's where our biggest pain point is we would refer someone and then 6 months would go by and we have no idea what happened to that merchant unless we ask them.
So it's commonly a two-way referral
absolutely.
Structure. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Interesting. Well, I mean, how do people, you mentioned the buy-in. How do people typically structure the incentives or, whatever the commission structure? Is it generally like, I mean, obviously human psychology, there's a lot of ways you can motivate people. You can give cards. How is it normally structured?
So a lot of it's referral based. They'll give a 10 or 20% kind of commission. If you're a SaaS-based company and they're selling annuals, it's going to be usually 20%, 10 or 20% of the annual fee. Some are based on tier-based structures. So if you sell X, you get X. You sell Y, you get Y. But it also is about status too, right? So there's a lot of partner programs out there, and this is where network marketing does this phenomenally too, right? The whole tiering up structure. You start at bronze and silver and gold and ruby. And
you move up, yeah.
It's a leveling up, right? I mean, if you talk about psychology, gaming did this when gaming came out. It was all about leveling up and gamification, right? So the whole idea of gamifying your partner program.
What you want, yeah.
So it's like, okay, if I achieve $2,000 in revenue or $20,000 in revenue, you get the status of gold, right? Or bronze, sorry. But if I achieve $50,000 in revenue attribution, I'm going to get a status of silver, but I may also get a little bit of a higher kickback on that commission, right? So there's an incentivized program to do better. And then also, if you become a quote unquote, different programs have a standard partner or a preferred partner or elite partner. The elite partners are generally higher up on the list, and you generally get also more leads because you are a more trusted partner.
Sure.
Right. Then you can go down the whole concept of certification programs and learning management softwares and all of that other stuff that comes with it as well.
Yeah. So I think one other question that will probably come up for most people that are not aware of like what PRM is. So I'll give an example, right? So let's say I have 5 clients, right? That would be perfect. They want to start partner programs, right? And I'm trying to bring them into you guys, right? Am I facilitating a direct intro through the platform? Am I providing a link? What's you know what I'm saying? How does it kind of work out in actuality?
Yeah, so there's a number of ways. So one is, so if I'm the partner for, let's say, you don't need a CMO, right? And so what would happen is you're running partnerportal.io, your PRM, and I go in, I sign up to register to become a partner.
Sure.
At that point, you have to validate me and you have to approve me as a partner to make sure that you don't want just some Joe Blow.
Of course. You don't want to talk in your company, yeah.
So then what I would do is I would then I facilitate the lead. I register the lead within the PRM. And then there's usually, what we've seen is some partner programs will just, they'll take that lead and run with it and go. I am of the different opinion of I'd rather still do a warm intro via
Absolutely.
email or something,
Yeah.
because it just goes so much farther, right? And then go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say there's this strange that I saw this somebody one of the it was I forget which accelerator it was. It might have been like Founder Institute or like one of the other ones, but they're using some kind of tool where that you make an intro to somebody through the platform, but you have to opt in to get the intro. Is it? I'm blanking on. I don't know. I wonder if you know what that is, but
No, I don't.
yeah,
We do have in an update coming out, we have an affiliate module that is being launched.
something like that. Yeah.
So you can get a web snippet, throw it on a landing page, and then you can just direct
People to it.
people to it and fill out their information, and then
Right.
you still get the attribution. Right. Same thing with the URL. So we're doing that built into the platform as well.
Interesting. Yeah, that's I think the way that you introduce people is probably pretty big. And then how does the follow up work? Like, how do you confirm, after said lead converts?
Yeah.
Whatever.
So when I submit the deal is then approved. Upon approval, the partner manager will then generally hook it into their CRM.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So once it's in the CRM, I can see it. I know that it's connected to HubSpot or Salesforce or whatever. And in there's status indicators. So I can, so the partner manager is going to map their funnel in their CRM to what they want to display inside of our PRM. Sorry about that. Of course, I'm always having so many notifications.
There you go.
So we have, so it's mapped to the what's inside of the PRM, right?
Okay.
And as the deal is being moved through the funnel inside the CRM, the status is going to be updated for the partner in real time.
Got it.
So when the deal is either won, lost, closed, whatever, or it's in prospecting or the contract's been sent, whatever, I can come in, I can quickly see that. There's also a commenting section, so I can just comment back and forth with the partner manager. Hey, what's the status? Give me a little insight, et cetera, and then you can have all the dialogue and information already on the lead. So it's very, very clean and organized.
Do you also, like, one interesting thing? So we've had, there's a couple smaller CRMs out there that have partner programs. Some of our clients are looking for a lower cost alternative to like a Salesforce or HubSpot or one with a lower commitment. So we've looked into like more affiliate than partner programs that these companies have.
Okay.
One of the things that turned us off about these programs is it doesn't feel like the partner is getting a ton of value because nobody is policing that relationship. Do you ever act as like a third party arbitrator?
Nope.
No, you don't see it as that at all.
We don't see it. We're a platform. We facilitate communication between a partner manager, one partner manager.
It's management, yeah.
And the other. So I mean, it's the same thing. Like why we don't take a commission on partner fees.
Right. It's not related to that. You're not bringing business to people, but that makes sense.
If that being said, if a partner manager has some questions and they say, well, hey, can you help me dive into something, or what are the best practices? So some of the things we're working on behind the scenes is content around what is partner management or partner programs 101, right?
Big, yeah.
The types of different partner programs out there. Because like I said, we're seeing more of an influx or an uptick of inquiries of, hey, like I've never ran a partner program before. Like what's the best, what do we do best, right? What's the best model I should be following? I think one of the things that we want to get to as a PRM software and becoming a leader in this ecosystem, in this space, at some point when we're allowed to have conferences, we'd love to get to the point of being able to hold educational conferences on what is partner programs, what drives the psychology behind it. It's a fascinating market. It really is, and especially if you're a marketing guy like me and you, we thrive in this space because it's all about relationships. But It's a really interesting, really interesting space to be in.
No, for sure. And yeah, it's definitely, I mean, I think it's when we think about like marketing tactics for companies, for a long time, it was always inbound, outbound. You're doing SEO ads, but maybe sales outreach, but you don't really put like the partner programs into that in a basket as like a marketing channel, but it really is a distinct channel and we've seen companies where it's just as successful as like the cold marketing in terms of pure volume.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've seen some very, very, very successful partner programs. And then we've seen some partner programs that don't do very well.
What's a shitty partner program? Like how does that generally turn out?
I think a lot of it has to do with the partner manager. Really having that person in that role really makes or breaks
who it is. Yeah.
Because if the person is not necessarily the best at following up or can't create relationships,
it's going to be a disaster.
It just doesn't work, right? And then also it's not driving the right incentive. If you throw a partner program up and it's like, well, it's $29 for a sale to convert, but I'm only paying out 5%. Like I'm not really being incentivized to do that. The amount of volume that I'm going to have to drive on that.
That's another good question. Yeah, I mean, for the lower ticket products, like let's say I have some type of email automation platform, let's say $59.99 a month, but there's multiple seats. Are those types of companies also going for partners driving?
Yeah, so that's where we actually fit really well because of our price point.
Right.
Whereas if they may have up to 5,000 partners,
lots of them,
tons of them, and if our pricing model is based on partners,
it's flat. Yeah,
it's it becomes a very costly endeavor. If you're using another platform that's just significantly more cost.
Is there a distinction that you would draw between this type of partner program and more of like a content or like affiliate partner that's not vetted as heavily?
I think there's a misconception between affiliate and partners.
Yes.
There's a very big misconception, and if you're new to the space, it's like, well, it's just like a simple affiliate program. It's like, no, not at all.
No, yeah.
Affiliate, for everyone's record, is you
shoot out candy to people.
Exactly. Here, I have a website. I throw an ad up. Someone clicks it. Someone buys. I get paid. I never talk to anyone, right? Partnerships is about relationships. It's like a vendor comes to you. They're usually a lot higher ticket price.
Yeah.
Usually you're building a relationship, having multiple conversations. There's a trust factor versus here's an ad. I click it. I buy it. I make money.
So safe to say you're not going to be seeing like any diet products or dating ebooks.
No, I don't think you're no. And I have experience. I come from that world. I did a lot in affiliate for a
while, yeah. Especially with the e-com side.
And they're totally different. They're totally different.
Yeah. Company. I mean, what's let's say a 20-person company. What's the over under on bringing on like a partner manager? Worth it cost wise, or
if you're prepared to invest several months into it, it's a costly it's
training and
it's training. It's like anything else. It's a nurture, right? Think in the world of email, right? It's a nurture campaign, right? You have to nurture that relationship. Likelihood is like I get people reach out to me every day. Join my partner program. Like I just don't.
Not compelling. Yeah.
It's got to be something that makes sense to your business. First of all, doesn't have a value add to my end user customer, right?
Yeah.
If it's not that there, I'm not even I'm just hitting delete, right?
Yeah.
Or unsubscribe. If it is, I'll usually have the first 30-minute conversation. That first 30-minute conversation is so important for me.
Yeah.
It's about relationship. Do I get along with this person? Is this thing going to add value to my end user customer? Is there enough incentive for me to invest in really referring and putting my name and my reputation on the line for this particular product and person that I'm going to be introducing them to.
Yeah.
So there's a trust factor that has to be built. And that usually takes a little bit of time.
That's another interesting item because, we talk to a lot of startups, different SaaS companies. Some are like more old school, kind of crappy, less like on the cutting edge of things. And I think, the vetting piece, like when does that partner relationship really kick off? Like how many points of contact are you having before you actually have that relationship set up? Or is it only coming out of existing relationships, clients? Can you proactively?
I think it's harder. On one hand, it's harder and easier in today's climate. So a lot of times, you build those relationships when you go to those conferences and you're having those.
Should not have.
Those I hate to say it, benders sometimes, right? And
that's the big thing. Yeah.
Really, when you go out with somebody and you have a few drinks and their environment and you can build that relationship, you can do that.
It's hard to do without it. Yeah.
It can be. The good partner managers are able to do it and they're checking in. Like, so a few of the partner managers I deal with, like we text, all the time, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? How was your weekend? What's on the docket for the week? Things like that. But it takes, if I had to answer that question, I spoke to someone the other day. We had a really good conversation. It was about 45 minutes to an hour. It was a analytics platform. SMS marketing platform, and it was a good conversation. I enjoyed the conversation. I thought they can offer value. And so what will likely happen for me there is have another conversation in 2 to 3 weeks. And if we have another, by the third touch point, I would say we're probably engaged at that point.
Well, without the face-to-face though, it is definitely a bit more difficult. Like, we have this accelerator partner that normally does like EdTech Week in New York where they have a lot of companies, big, small, come in. And they, this week they've done like happy hour on Zoom where everybody's in their house, like drinking a few bottles of beer. And it's just like, it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you're much more obligated. Like once you have that even if the rest of the relationship is digital, if that first 30 minutes is a face-to-face, it sustains itself a lot longer. I feel like, and then that's just human nature.
Well, it's human contact, and it's there are keys and there's tones, there's body language, it's just different. It's a different feel completely.
Right.
Especially, I'm really good in person. I am. I can be egotistical on it. One of the things my lawyer always said to me, he's Josh. I've seen a lot of people work a room, and then there's you. So, but I thrive on that. I enjoy it. I love it. I love going to conferences. Like when I went to a web summit, like I refer to that as my Super Bowl. That is my Super Bowl. Yeah. I'm going to talk to everyone, everywhere, any way I can, because I'm going to build relationships. I'm going to build partners. I'm going to build trust.
Yeah.
And it's definitely harder in this climate. It can be done, just probably a little more challenging.
It's also, I was to say, it's also self-selection a little bit, and that the people that go to those types of events are generally the most motivated, the most people with the most connections.
Yeah.
They're
super cool also.
Exactly. Just by virtue of them being there. Whereas, it's harder to find like an online community or something.
Yeah.
But I think it's, you got to select those events. I mean, we don't have to worry about that for a while, supposedly, but, I do think you have to select those events, carefully, per se, because there's definitely some ones that are a waste.
Yeah. Sure.
But interesting. I guess, kind of going back to that question. So, you made the point earlier when you were just talking about how, founding the company and everything, how big of a role that, some of these events played. Now that we don't have that for the foreseeable future, how do you recommend people network or, get their startups out there, get those initial 100 customers or whatever?
I still think LinkedIn is probably one of the best ways to do that.
You do. It's gotten better I don't know if you guys do a lot of like outbound on LinkedIn or anything along those lines.
We're doing a lot of outbound on email. So we built some pretty strong sequences through our CRM, through HubSpot.
Nice.
It's about personalization. So we're really targeting the right person that would be interested in a PRM, right? or so we have tools. A lot. Get Prospect's a really great tool. I don't know if you use that or not.
Yeah, we use it.
So, and then there's other ones like woodpecker.io and other things we've tested.
Million of them.
So there's lots of tools out there that really can help facilitate finding the right person that you want to reach out to and talk to. But here's the differentiation. If you really want to create some relationships, first of all, I can't stand the whole like cold, like here's my service, buy from me on LinkedIn. I'm tired of it, right?
It's just so much. It's just repetitive.
If you have something that you want to sell to me, like get to know me, right? Understand who I am, what the types of needs that I want, that are, the types of products that are going to help me offer value to my organization and my customer. Right? Yeah. You can look at someone, if someone is in, on LinkedIn, like, and you connect with them, like you can go back, look at their experience, look at the post, see the interest that they have. Find a common denominator. I mean, that's sales 101, right?
It's very rare that you get one of those that we do X, Y, and Z, and it's actually something that you're proactively looking for. It's almost maybe happens like once or twice a year where,
Yeah.
And it's also, the one thing we noticed, we used to do like LinkedIn email like 4 or 5 years ago and get a lot of equivalent bookings that we get out of email. Then they introduced how there's ads in the top of the inbox. The in-mail there's a label that says in-mail on it. And now it's used by recruiters, all these kind of crappy accounting services. And it's totally like, you just ignore. I mean, I just find myself automatically ignoring, So it kind of has to, I feel like the best LinkedIn interactions come as a follow-up on some other medium.
I'm gonna pull a card from my buddy. His name is Josh Garellek, and he works for a company called Aptentive out of Seattle. Basically, it's a loyalty application for mobile apps, so you can communicate with your customers. And he is to this day one of the best openers. Like he's got this big red bushy afro, and he shoots with a green screen, and he'll like send you messages like that make you want to pee your pants laughing, right?
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal, and he talks about doing something unique when you get on a Zoom call. Like I have a really crappy background, right?
Yeah.
But he
not great. Terrorist.
So he comes
interrogation background.
Yeah, exactly. It's my money tree over here, though. So.
Yeah, you have the tree, so.
But he does something different every time he does an outreach or he talks to somebody, and it's about putting in the time and effort and creativity. I mean, now we're into sales over here for a second, but be unique. You got to stand out. Right?
Have you seen that personalized video message work cold? Because I'm always afraid it's going to be like a chat roulette situation where, somebody just drops their pants and like I've been pranked. Like if I see somebody sitting on camera and I've never seen them before.
I think it's about legitimacy. I think it's about who's sending it. Is this person active on LinkedIn? Is he part of a reputable company? What's his position and title? There's a way to do it.
I think it's good. And, we've sent them not embedded, but linked in an email where, you send your normal type of cold email, but then you have a personalized video that's, hyperlinked on one of the words, and that generally gets a good reaction. But yeah, I'm wondering, LinkedIn, you actually embed it so they see your face.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, but I haven't opened them.
Like have a good LinkedIn picture, guys. Like,
yeah.
You don't
want.
Just think about you are reaching out to somebody, and the first thing they are going to see is whatever you have posted for LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
Whatever it's saying. Right?
That's huge. Yeah.
Just think about that. Right?
Yeah, I mean it's even big in the email too.
Yeah.
If you see it in the signature and it's just like
both of us have our picture in our signature, right? So
which I think is a good. I mean, I'm so much more likely to respond to somebody if they have an image. More information, the better.
Yeah.
And then there's a number of little things like kind of along those lines that are interesting. But have you seen people advertise to get to like most of the partners are coming in through relationships for you guys, or do you advertise that like a partner page on your website or something like that?
So we're talking about Partner Portal right now, right? Customers or
I'm talking about partner portal for the agency. So just in general, would you advertise to get new partners?
Not per se, no. For the agency, no. So we're advertising for end user customers, and usually when we're looking for new partners, it's because it's a need that we have found, right? So something, do a quick Google search on like, has someone done something like this? And oh, okay, wow, I found it. Let me reach out to them and talk to them, right?
Yeah.
For example, like ERPs, right? Like ERP is people who say they do our ERPs, you either do it really, really well or you're full of shit, because ERP integrations are very, very complicated, right? But, so if I'm partnering with an ERP integrator, I want to make sure that those are very strong partnerships. So usually I'm not going to advertise for that. I'll usually go to Google and I'll start searching and like who does ERP integrations for NetSuite or Oracle or whatever, right? And then I'll reach out to the companies that look or give me the appropriate information or the right information that I'm looking for, and then I start having those discussions with those partners.
Yeah.
Right? We do advertise for partners, or we do advertise for partners on Partner Portal, because Partner Portal does have a partner program as well. It's friends.partnerportal.io, and we do offer a 10% perpetuity of the lifetime of the contract.
We'll put that up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's my plug.
There you go. Yeah. But so okay. So I mean, you would recommend proactively reaching out to partners. So let's say we're a cybersecurity company. A company does like proxies. Would you recommend proactively reaching out, and who would you reach out to?
Who would I reach out to if you're doing cybersecurity?
And you're looking for partners.
Oh, I'm looking for partners. Interesting.
Let's say
build relationships with legal, right?
Yeah.
They're always talking to individuals. I do think agency partners are important there as well, because if from experience, like we're not a security company, right? But we get requests on, are you SOC 2 compliant and other things like that. It's like, no, whoa, you go talk to, let's introduce you to someone who specializes in that space, right? So legal, agency partners, cybersecurity consultants, right? Or integrators or things like that, is who I would recommend. And I think it depends on the niche and the specialties as well. That's going to factor hugely into that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Interesting.
The 6th degree of separation, right? I mean, LinkedIn's a great tool. Like you can find the right people that you're looking to communicate with through LinkedIn. Like it's there. The connection.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's got to be. I mean, there are a few industries that we've done where LinkedIn is people are not very active on LinkedIn: construction, logistics. But for definitely in the SaaS tech world, mainstream business, SMBs. I mean, it's hard to beat if you're just looking for people. I mean, I'm sure there's pretty much.
Yeah.
You're not missing anybody. At least US.
You're crowdsourcing too. I mean, you can just literally put a post up on LinkedIn and I'll get 20, 30, 40 responses, right?
Yeah.
Talk to this person, talk to that person.
Yeah.
I dare you right now, man. Go online and say like, who should I talk to about PRM?
Oh yeah, you're gonna get hit. Yeah.
So.
And I definitely think. I mean, I gotta look at the stats, but I definitely think there's been a certain increase in LinkedIn, just general content activity since the pandemic hit. Yeah.
Everyone's an expert in something.
Exactly. That's what I think. But I think it's an interesting space for sure. I think most people probably are just thinking about like who can we get as partners, who's in our current network. But I'm sure as a company, if you have a good product and a fit, it's certainly something you can build. Like I'm thinking about, for a lot of the listeners of this podcast are definitely more on the, early stage startup side. So, the question would be, is it a launch strategy? Let's say you didn't have an agency and you were just going into some industry that you don't have an existing network in. Can you create that network using a partner program?
I think you absolutely can.
Yeah.
Something I definitely feel really strongly in is having foundations. So having a PRM from day one is going to set you apart from someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, where do I register? How do I know what's going on? How do I get paid? How do I find marketing collateral? How do I know analytics? How do I know like how many deals are being sent one way or another? Yeah. And then it's the education piece and the collaboration piece. So it's definitely, if I offer any recommendation, if you are thinking about running a partner program, look at a PRM. Look at something that's going to help you manage things and manage your ecosystem. You're not going to start project management without a project management software.
Yeah. What's your opinion on content? Because you guys are pretty content light for, our experience in general has been most companies who produce a lot of content and who are, reasonably successful, they're not seeing a ton of returns from it.
So we are absolutely content light.
Yeah.
Not done on purpose, but more due to this being a little bit, the partner portal being a little bit secondary for the last little while versus more primary. And it's just a matter of time versus investment versus output. So we recognize that we're definitely light on content, and that's something that we're working on actively to address that. We have 2 marketing interns this summer, so we're going to be producing much more social content. We have a couple of case studies that are going to come out on our customer base, and we couldn't do that for the first little while because we were still really new, right? We didn't
really know what to write. That's the big mistake.
We didn't have the data. No, so we are going to write the basics, the principles, the 101s. But if you're talking to a sophisticated partner manager, he's going to ask you, or she's going to ask you, or they're going to ask you, what's my ROI, right? How do I measure success on?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I would say probably resources collateral is more of a big thing for you guys. Like I can see,
Yeah, the resource center has been, the resource center has been the #1 feature request that we have gotten in the last 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
So we have one. It's a very slimmed down version because it was part of our MVP. And the next couple of weeks we have this really big launch coming out, or update for that matter. That's going to have a very large, robust resource center. Yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting how some companies, like I would say, if we're talking about people who discover content through like SEO or, kind of wherever you're linking it on social media, I've really only seen that best case be like 10% of new user acquisitions. Mm-hmm. It's never like the majority. Maybe people, existing users, people on trials read, but it's not, I've never seen it be something where like that's, your primary. I mean, people look to like HubSpot as the main content marketing, like they do a ton of content marketing. Like they have articles on every single marketing topic. But yeah, I wonder, they just have a much broad appeal than, where it kind of like, you just want to get traffic to the site, regardless of what it is. But as far as an acquisition strategy, not brand recognition, I think it's a little, the content marketing stuff is a little bit overrated compared to things like partner programs and actual relationships, which can, be way more advantageous in the long run than having like a few SEO optimized guides to whatever the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting take for sure.
We just haven't got there yet. I mean, we
Yeah.
we have 12 months of features and new components and really new features in the platform that just haven't even been developed yet. And then there's the marketing side, which we've done virtually no outbound marketing. I think our marketing spends are like $5.
Right, you said that.
It's virtually nothing. So, and the reason is that we were, you know, my business partner and myself and everyone, we have experience in ad buying. We needed to understand what our CPA was, our cost per acquisition was, before we're just going to start just throwing, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars at acquisition. And then also we wanted to make sure, like, okay, on the touch points, when a user comes in, what are they seeing? What's the sequence they're going to go through? What's the nurture campaign? At what point do they buy? At what point, you know, how many people are converting out of trial? What's our churn rate on that? Like, so a lot of it was just trying to get our benchmarks before we started just throwing everything at the wall. We just wanted to understand what that benchmark was so that we can invest smartly or smarter in those verticals.
We didn't talk about this on the last call, but one thing that I was curious about. So I think that, you know, definitely based on like your guys' branding and everything, definitely the market appears to, you know, the market opportunity appears to be more in the mid-market, like SMB type space. Yeah. Have you had any luck selling the enterprise side?
Yeah, we've had a few.
Yeah. What's been the difference?
The requirements are a lot more.
Yeah. They're asking for more from you. Yeah.
Security, stress testing, ISOs.
Sure.
How's your data? Where is your data housed? Who has access to it?
All sorts of crap. Yeah.
It's just a lot. It's a lot more thorough questionnaire, and then there's also just a lot more features that the enterprise market wants, and it's really generally around analytics and understanding, you know, baking in your marketing spends into your partner ecosystem, and yeah, a lot of security protocols, who has access to what, GDPR compliance, all of that stuff. Yeah. It's a long sales cycle too. A lot more decision makers involved.
Oh yeah.
Usually you have someone mid-level management who's doing kind of the research, and then it's got to start going up the chain. And you know, usually enterprise clients have been on Salesforce generally, and they all use Salesforce completely different than
yeah.
So it takes a little bit of time and understanding of how they're using Salesforce, and you know, some are using Salesforce for customers, and then some are using HubSpot for marketing. So it's a lot of the sales cycle is just a lot longer.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, in general about you guys, and we'll probably wrap it up in a few minutes here. But I see the PRM stuff kind of being like in a lower phase of the adoption cycle, where like maybe sales enablement technology or influencer management stuff was 3 or 4 years ago, and now it's become, some of those companies are doing, you know, a ton. You know, they're doing like 1 million hits a month.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, and they're used very widely by companies of all sizes. So I wonder if this is, you know, similar type of avenue where it's going to be, you know, well known.
Yeah, well, I
mean, a few years.
You know, like when we were, so we did go back November last year. We did do SaaS North again.
Sure.
Felt it was kind of, I almost feel like it's important to keep going because it's kind of where we launched the platform and started. And the CEO of FreshBooks got up and basically gave this entire keynote on partnerships. So then all of a sudden the whole conference was about partnerships.
Nice.
And so we were actually in the pitch contest. Unfortunately, I didn't. I kind of got screwed up a little bit at the beginning. The moderator, John, my name is Josh, and then I just got all flustered. And
that's the worst.
It was fine. I think if I had to do it again, I would I would just shorten it. I would have focused the pitch a little bit more on certain areas. But you know, the moderators and the judges were very, very welcoming to the platform. They said, yes, this is a market that is growing. It needs to be taken seriously, and there hasn't really been, like you said, there hasn't been a company that's established themselves as the PRM resource in this space, especially with mid-market and SMBs, right?
Yeah.
Enterprise, there's a bunch of players. Yeah, they're there.
There's already players, yeah.
There's some players there, but it's very costly. There's a large setup time, and it's a much lengthier process. Whereas what vertical and what we're playing in is it's speed to market, reliability, true SaaS. I mean, like I said, I encourage you, try it out. So you can sign up, be up and running in under 30 minutes.
Cool. Any last words for the audience?
Just take partnerships seriously. I mean, if you look at what history has shown us, and you've seen some of the companies that have run partner programs really well, have done really, really successfully. I mean, Microsoft is a good example. Shopify, I think, is really the best example. They incentivize.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They have this. I mean, listen, they're right around the corner from me. They're an auto-based company, and they started this really, this e-commerce company, and they really built their platform through partnerships.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Good stuff. So Josh from Partner Portal, we'll put all the links in there. So where can people find you in particular? Where you posting?
LinkedIn, and really LinkedIn.
What was the TikTok again? That was
no TikTok. I got Instagram as Josh Garellek, but it's a little more just personal stuff. It's about me growing my plants in Canada.
Is that where we'll see the Ibiza?
No,
escapade?
Those are
private. Yeah, that has to be hacked. Okay.
That's for when we can have a Italian dinner together.
All right, cool stuff, guys. So we'll put this in the link, and yeah, good talking.
Check it out, partnerportal.io.